Hi, welcome all of you to a most important session after you have cracked your entrance examinations, especially the SLAT and the SET. The Symbiosis Law Institute, the SLS Noida, SLS Pune, Noida, Nagpur, Hyderabad, as well as the BBA of the Symbiosis Institutes have released their scores. Now, the second stage, which is what we are talking about, the stage two of your selection, is going to be completely on the WAT and the PI. What are these WAT and PI? We'll talk about that. But more importantly, whether you are appearing for a law entrance or a law college in the Symbiosis table, or for the bachelor's of business administration, the written test that you guys have cracked it. And I'm assuming that if you're listening to this, you have cracked that entrance examination, are now looking at how do I get into that institute, the coveted portals of the Symbiosis. 50%, just listen to this, 50% of your chance is still with PI and WAT. You have done only half the job. The next half is going to be equally important, and probably unlike the return test where you would have probably spent last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, sometimes 2 years to prepare for an entrance examination to get that 50% of the mark. Now you have hardly any time, less than a week probably in some cases and a couple of weeks in some others. You need to get the 50%. Now, can you get that 50% within such a short time? This particular session is exactly going to be that for you, coming from Career Launcher here, lawentrance.com and Career Launcher for the law and the BBA entrances. We will go ahead and look at, if you have the chance to get into that interview room or the WAT room, what should you do to make sure that you are going to get selected? Once again, I'm going to say something very, very important before I continue. 50%, and that is what we look at here. The second stage consists of WAT and personal interview. The total exam is for 100% mark. Only written test is 50%. The remaining 50% is there for the taking. Of course, 20% is there for all the Symbiosis institutes except the Symbiosis Nagpur and Hyderabad BBA. The WAT we are showcasing for 20% is 15% only as far as BBA, Symbiosis Nagpur and Symbiosis Hyderabad are concerned, and therefore 35% for the personal interview. Rest all other Symbiosis institutes, 20% is your WAT and 30% is your personal interview. 50% we have already seen is the written test. In other words, whatever may be the score, if you get an interview call, whether you got 35 marks, 40 marks, 45 marks, 50 marks, whatever the cutoff finally may be for each of these institutes, you have a huge chance of still making it with the next 50% that you have. And that is what I'm going to look at it. We have been, Career Launcher has been at the forefront of helping students. I hope you also get this information. So each of these, I'm going to take this particular thing in 2 small sessions. The first session going to be on WAT. We'll understand what is WAT, what is the structure, and many a time it is very, very obvious that you find a topic which you don't know anything about. How do I even look at that topic? How do I generate topics, generate a lot of content to make sure that you get marks? I think we will talk about that approaches to the WAT today. And also, along with that, we will discuss the personal interview. We will be taking other sessions of personal interview. I have taken a few for the BBA IPM a few days back. We will take mock interviews for all the Career Launcher students so that you are ready when you go into the actual interview room. So let's look at this. What is this WAT? Abhinav and others who are asking these questions, just relax, buddy. BALLB, the cutoff is going to come up in a couple of days, maybe tomorrow or maybe on 18th. Till that time, please understand that you would definitely get something or the other. There are 4 BBAs and there are other areas or other courses also under the Symbiosis table. The fact that you have 35, there is a chance that you'll get something or the other if you have applied for those institutes. So let's very quickly start looking at what is the WAT. WAT, as the name suggests, is the writing ability test. This is the writing ability where you need to have, which you would have done that in your school itself, writing essays. How well you write an essay? Is there a structure to the essay? How many words have to be written in it? How much time is given to you? These are some of the questions that you will probably get. My answer to that is very simple. There is typically 30 minutes given to you after the topic is given. 30 minutes for writing your essay. Any answer, any essay between 250 words to 300 words is very good. You may not even reach 300. You may only reach 200 words. That's also perfectly fine in 30 minutes, provided that 200 words have, very nicely structured as we go along. Okay. Now let's look at what of the WAT. What is this WAT? There is a topic given to you. You are expected to analyze the topic from various angles. You are supposed to give examples of what you think about it. Probably give a solution if there is a problem there. Should smoking be banned, or smoking should be banned? Let's say there is a topic like that. Smoking should be banned. Of course, they're not going to probably give you such a simple topic, but even otherwise, smoking should be banned. So, okay, I will ban it, but then something else has to come out in lieu of that. Somewhere we need to also be able to give up an alternate chances or alternate choices, solutions for the people who, when you're taking a decision. And of course, we will also look at a lot of knowledge that you might require for you to get there. This knowledge that you're talking about is very essential even for your PI. We'll talk about that. Why are they giving you a 30-minute essay when you have written an aptitude test? Remember, whether you are going to be a lawyer, whether you're going to be a manager, one of the things that is going to be happening to you is you'll read a lot and you'll probably make a lot of reports or documents, quite a bit of it. You need to at least have a structure in your mind at least have the ability to put a structure in your mind when you are going to these colleges, which is the reason why the why of the WAT comes into picture for your selection. And the third, of course, how do you kind of close this? When it happened about writing ability, you start talking about a subject or a topic. How do you close this topic? How do you end this topic? Do you have the right way in which you can use the grammar? And are you very opinionated or are you very objective? All these things will happen, will be required. Whether you are going to be a lawyer or whether you're going to be a manager, one of the most important things that you need to have clarity in is that you have to be neutral. Like I wrote the word here, opinionated. You should probably be not be opinionated. You need to have your opinions, all right, but cannot be opinionated in general. So the WAT requires a certain kind of a mindset I want you to understand. Abhinav Bansal is asking again and again. I will not notice it, friends, for some time, because I want you to focus on first what is useful to you. Then after the session is kind of over, and I'm not going to take more than 30 minutes for this session, 15 minutes for WAT and 15 minutes for PI, giving you an overview of it. And then there will be a lot of questions, Abhinav and everybody else, you will be asking, and I will answer that. Because if you spam, people will not like it. Like some of them already questioning you, saying that, yaar, kya kar raha hai, yaar? Thoda sa, don't try to, hold the time kind of things. Okay. So relax, Abhinav, and username, whoever you are, Siddharth, and everything else, just relax. I will answer all the questions, provided you give me a time to answer that questions. Okay. Just give it yourself time. We will take every question that is important. Okay. So now, having said that, let's get back to the WAT. One of the most important thing that is important for a WAT is the structure. So let's look at how do I structure this code, structure the paper, structure my essay. I have a very simple plan. I want you to make a note of it or take a picture of it also. If any WAT in an exam like this, you can do that in simple 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph, where you define the structure and the scope and explain the topic in your own words. It could be any topic for that matter. It could be that the president of India should be always elected unopposed. Let's say this is a topic. Right now, we know that there's a presidential election going on 18th of July, and we know that there are two candidates. We are looking at if there is a topic saying that president of India should be elected unopposed, let's say, or selected unopposed, whatever. Do you understand the point? So, who is the president of India? What is the value of the president of India? What is why is there a president, the head of the government or head of the state? How is he selected? Those are the first paragraph where you will try to explain the topic, saying that, hey, how is the president selected? Why are we even saying that he should have that there should not be any election, or it should be unopposed as compared to being opposed, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. I'm just giving you a very a random topic. It could be another topic saying that Sri Lankan crisis is their own making. Another topic. Or it could be that the Russia-Ukraine war is the nemesis for many other economies of the world. Such kind of things. Whatever may be the topic. The first paragraph, I want you to understand this. First paragraph has to be ideally explaining that you understood what the topic is. Listen to this carefully. See, whenever a topic is given to you, the person, the examiner, when he is seeing it, he should first figure out, he or she should first figure out that this student understands what this topic is all about, whatever may be the final structure of that. So the first thing that I want you to do is make sure that the first paragraph, it could be about 50, 60, 70 words. 50, 60, 70 words would mean about 6 to 8 sentences. Each sentence will be about 8 to 10 words. Sentences, keep it very simple. 6 to 8 sentences, 70 words will be your first paragraph, where you will try to explain what the topic means and what are the contours of the topic. What is the scope of the topic? What is the structure in which you are going to you are not going to give I agree or I not agree. For example, I give you a topic saying that India should give away Kashmir to Pakistan. Let's say I give you this topic. India should give away Pakistan to Kashmir. Don't start saying, no, we should not give Kashmir to Pakistan. I mean, that's not an answer. That's not even a discussion. That's not even a writing ability test. Okay. India and Pakistan have been formed in 1947 after a continued struggle of 200 years under the British rule. However, various things broke out at that point of time, wherein on 14th of August 1947, the Pakistan was formed, Pakistan and the East Pakistan at that point of time, now currently Bangladesh, and India as another nation state has been formed on 15th of August. One of the basic disputes at that point of time, which continue to exist even 70 years after the formation of the two countries, is the Kashmir problem. A Hindu ruler with a Muslim majority state was acceded by force, somebody says, or by will and interest of the king, someone else says, has acceded to India. Since then, there have been 3 bloody wars between Pakistan and India, or 4 bloody wars between India and Pakistan. Some of them are guerrilla and some of them are not, where a lot of issues are. Now, I am basically explaining the topic. Even before I say that, boss, should we give Kashmir to Pakistan or not? We will not, obviously. Yaar, Kashmir hamara hai. That's a different issue. What I am trying to explain is the first paragraph should be utilized to explain the structure, explain the scope, and whether or not you understood the topic correctly or not. Because if you understood the topic correctly, it doesn't matter what else you say after a point of time. The examiner who is reading your essay, or an examinee, even if it's a robot which is doing, they understand that there are keywords which are getting added into your first paragraph itself. you will get decent marks. Remember, 20% marks are there. And if you do your first paragraph well, I'm almost telling you, you will get about 10 marks out of 20, whatever else may be the conclusion. The second part of it is when you start discussing the pros and cons of whatever the topic that is given to you. It could be demonetization. Demonetization was a boon or a bane. Let's say this is a topic. Demonetization was a boon or a bane. Whatever. This is the topic. In the first paragraph, you discuss the demonetization. Why is the demonetization? What is the history of demonetization? When else was it done apart from 2016 or 17, whenever it was done? We keep thinking about it. In the first paragraph, you kind of set the tone. In the second paragraph is when you kind of look at what are the positives of demonetization, why was the demonetization done, and what are the cons of demonetization, why cash going out of the system is going to be very difficult for the poor people, especially the farmers, or whatever, retailers, etc. So the second paragraph, when the first paragraph defines structures, explains what the topic is, the second paragraph you should start looking at the positives and the negatives of that topic itself, whatever the topic may be. And can you do it with an example? Wherever possible, that will give you huge value. The third thing, that's going to be another 60, 70, 80 words. 80 words will take you 10 sentences, 10, 12 sentences, some pros and some cons. And then you come to the last paragraph. If you want, you can make the second and third paragraph 2 paragraphs of 40 or 50 words. You can make it 100 words if you have the time for it. And the last one is the conclusion. That's again another 50-60 words, where given what you understood the passage from the para 1 and your pros and cons, you would have given pros and cons, both you would have given, but you will have an opinion. I'm again using the word not opinionated, but opinion. You will have an opinion saying that this part, the con or the pro, has more weightage according to you because of your opinion, whatever the reasons may be. So you reiterate your points in a different way and conclude one way or the other. Conclude that, okay, it was a good thing, it was a bad thing, it was mostly good with a little bad, or whatever may be the case. The idea is, what is it that the examiner is looking at in your WAT? He is not only looking at your knowledge. What he's looking at is, can you bring a structure to any argument that you want to take up? I am going to give you some WAT topics and you can do some practice about it. So how many minimum points of pros and cons do we have to write? If somebody asks this question, somebody is asking this question, so I'm showing that in the this one. There is nothing like minimum number of pros and cons as such. But ideally, let's say you are going to go a pro, 3 pros and 2 cons are better. If you're going for a con, I mean going against the topic, 2 pros and 3 cons, and 5 points multiplied by 2, 10 sentences is more than sufficient. I'm trying to make it into a very simple plan. Now, Kushali is again asked a very interesting question. Sir, when are we expected to take a stand? Wouldn't that establish your opinion? Wouldn't it make the passage biased then? Very good question, Kushali Shah. Like I said, if I take a stand without giving reasons to it, then it will consider as a biased, opinionated passage. But what am I doing? If you noticed carefully, Kushali and everybody else who might have the same question, what I have tried to do is, boss, I have first explained to the reader, whoever the reader is, I'm a writer. Remember, I am a writer. I have explained, boss, I understand what the topic is. That is my first paragraph. Second, I also explained to you there are pros and cons of it. That means I am telling people that I am a very neutral guy. I am a very sensible person. I am a person who understands both sides of the coin. And then on the third paragraph, I am now telling that, hey, given that given that I understand the passage, the topic, given that there are pros and cons of it, this part of it appears a lot more, it is weighing more, and hence I conclude that this is my stand about it. That is my stand about it. Is that clear? 3 also Jigzaya is good, no issues about it. Now, Avani is asking how many lines would be enough in one para. So typically about 8 to 10 lines is good enough in one para. That means 10, 10, 10, 30 lines. 30 lines into 8 is 240 words. If you can really get that, friends, more than sufficient according to me. This is a good question Aham Tiwari is asking. Does the tone have to be argumentative? No. You have to be reason. You're basically not going to be argumentative. You can be assertive in your opinion about it, of therefore saying that this is right. But what you're expected to do, my friend Aham, is that you appear as a very rational person. You appear as a very rational person in that sense of the word. Now, this is a very good question somebody has asked. Taman Singh has asked this question, and I want to take it up. All of you listen to this. Sir, are we given any brainstorming time? No. No such time is given to you. You are given 30 minutes from the time you are given your topic. Now, what I would say is you have to mentally form a structure. So my suggestion would be first 7 to 8 minutes you form a structure. If there is any other extra waste paper, if you can get an extra rough paper that you can get, or at the back of it, make points on what you want to write. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of generally. Okay, what pros, what cons. Don't start writing the passage straight away. That's one of the biggest mistakes you write, because you start writing and suddenly you say, okay, I thought I will say pro, suddenly I got 3 cons, which is also the reason somebody asked me when should I do the conclusion. I will always do the conclusion at the last, even if I start off, because I think that I don't have time. But once I have written my second paragraph with my pros and cons, I will know why palla kis side bhari hai. I'm sorry about that for Hindi. What I'm trying to say is which side is more weighing more. That if I understand, I think you are going to be very clear to get your proper conclusion also in life. Okay. Now, the other thing is, what is the word limit for WTA? Anirudh, the word limit, there is no word limit, but 300 words is a good number to use. Can I use the words like I, me, we? No, you should not use the words like I, me, we. Sir, in a topic, president should be elected unopposed. We have to write in favor or against the topic. You can write whichever way you want, Poonam Kumari. You decide that it's a president, it's a titular head of the country, it doesn't have any great powers in India, and hence, ideally, the best guy who can be selected among 15 people. Before you kind of nominate that, there should be a discussion with the opposition and the government, and therefore one guy should be there so that everybody will respect him, kind of a statement can be made, or respect her, if it is now Draupadi Murmu is going to be the president. That is one way of doing it, Poonam Kumari. But now let's look at it. If it is president should be elected unopposed, now let's look at president of the United States. How can he be unopposed? Because that guy is an executive guy. In the US, the president is an executive power. He has a lot more executive power than in India, because India is a titular head. He is only the head of the state without any real power. The real power is the prime minister of the country. So for a country like US, the statement, maybe you will have to say that, no, this is not a good idea. Whereas in India, it may be, yes, there is a good idea. So that's the kind of an answer you can give it. Am I making fast? I'm making sense, Poonam, I'm sure. I hope you are able to understand. Okay. CV format mein mat aana abhi. I will come back to that CV format. This is another issue which username is asked, sir, can I write in the essay in the first person? Ideally, please do not write in the first person. It's an essay. You are an author, but without talking about I, we, me kind of things, please do not write it, is what I would say. Is that okay? So this is what I'm saying. Can we write brainstorming ideas in a paper while attending online WAT exam? Yes, obviously, Putul Mani, you can do that. Sir, if we are given an existing problem as a topic, say a resurging pandemic situation, should we provide solutions in the lab? Yes, absolutely. First, disguise the problem, why it has come back, the pros and cons of it, in the what are the reasons why it is coming back, and how it can be curtailed, and come out with a proper solution to the end of it. That's the way you should look at it. Sir, would you recommend starting the essay with a quote? Tushar, this is something lots of people do. If you have a right quote, if you have the right quote, a relevant quote for that topic, yes. Otherwise, don't. Now, Mahir Kapoor is saying, is WAT gonna happen online or offline? If the interview is online, the WAT will be online. If the the interview is offline, the WAT also will be offline. As simple as that. What if we do not know any of the topic? Kavish Kripalani. That is why you should listen to this session. This session is going to be very, very useful for you to get you answers for this question. What we don't know anything about the topic. Sandeep Dave, please listen on a little more time. Sir, as an example, should we write in narrative format? Anshi, ideally, it should be written in an analytical format. If I were you, I would always like it write in an analytical format. Do you recommend making a framework before writing the fair essay? Yes, that is exactly what I said. You need to make a framework, which is the framework which is there on your screen right now. Do they prefer, do they prefer facts in the passage? And is there a weightage for vocabulary and grammar? Bhavya, any fact which is relevant will have weightage. They will definitely prefer. Similarly, good vocabulary and the correct grammar is always given huge weightage, which is exactly the reason why you're writing a test. This is not about information. This is about essay which should have decent vocabulary, if not, exotic vocabulary. I'm not expecting very, very out of the world vocabulary, but a simple, decent vocabulary. At the same time, correct grammar, which is one of the reasons why I want you to kind of write it very, very slow. Jigyasa Krishna, I'm going to answer this question also. Can the essay be open-ended? Yes, it can be open-ended, but ideally, I would say please make it close. Ideally, if the topic is very, very neutral in nature and there is no such correct answer to that, please, you can leave it open-ended. But if I were to give you my marks, extra marks, I would always prefer a person who's taken a final stand on it rather than a person who has not taken a stand on it. Now you might say, who the hell are you to take a stand and give me marks? No. When I'm saying it is nothing to do with ARKS here. What I am trying to explain is the world over, all universities in the world in general prefer that a writing essay, writing ability test will have a kind of a conclusion. While giving our opinion, we should not use your V or U. An opinion can be given without the I and V kind of things, guys. Please don't get into your feelings, your experiences, your life, your issues kind of things. Never do that is what I would say. Nikita Sinha, just wait for a few minutes. I think I am still stuck. I said 30 minutes I'll finish, but now 30 minutes I've taken for WAT also. Can we go ahead, guys? I want you to listen to this carefully because a lot more new things I'm going to talk about in a few minutes from now. Is that okay? Because the most important thing that I'm going to talk about, is, bhai, how on earth will I write a goddamn passage without knowing anything about it? Correct? You would want to know that, right? No, Gayatri, you will not get choice of topics. You will have to write whatever is given to you. Sir, could you state about IRC and DRC? What IRC and DRC are you discussing, Sanjana Mehta? Can you please explain? Sir, the topic that we get in WAT, we have right in favor or against, or we have to be right in balance and being neutral. Poonam, I have been talking about it for the last 20 minutes. I want you to go back and discuss this once. Listen to this YouTube session, which will be put live for you so that you will know what I'm saying. But to answer it very, very shortly, you will have to take a stand at the end of it, but you have to discuss on both sides of the coin in general. So Maria Augustine, this information, I don't think it has been quickly given. They would have sent you a mail. In the mail, these instructions would be given. I haven't seen the mail yet to be able to comment on it. I would just want to wait for it before I take information on that. So Aham Tiwari is saying, could you speak on time management while writing passage? So here is the basic broad idea of writing a passage. When you're talking about 30 minutes time, 6-7 minutes for creating the thoughts and making a rough sketch for it. Then you have about 21 minutes. So approximately 6-7 minutes for each paragraph, sorry. But make sure, this is important, make sure that don't go because you can speak. Look at it right now. I'm rambling. I'm talking so much. I can talk whatever. I can talk for the next 1 hour on the same topic. But that's not what you're going to do. That's going to be silly to do in an interview, in an exam. You have only 7 minutes. So which means to say, Aham and everybody else who is listening to this, and this is about what Aham's question I'm answering, what time management. So first 6-7 minutes for making a quick rough sketch points for yourself, saying that, okay, what are the pros and cons for it. The second 777 or 666, approximately 6 to 7 minutes for each paragraph. 3 paragraphs you convert into the way I have looked at the structure. So Putul Mani is saying, if you took a side and the person checking it will be against it, will that affect my essay? They are not so narrow, Putul Mani. Don't worry about that. They will not be narrow. They are only going to look at your grammar, structure, vocabulary, and the rationale behind your taking a decision, rather whether you are pro Modi or against Modi, pro Rahul Gandhi or against Rahul Gandhi, or whoever kind of things. So please don't worry about that at all. Please don't worry about that at all. Okay. Now, I think we spent quite a lot of it on this one. How do we know whether PI is online or offline? Bhai, wait for the information that comes in on a mail to you once the schedule is sent. Once the schedule is sent, if it is not already sent to people, we will figure it out and tell you on your WhatsApp groups, or sorry, the Telegram groups. Keep that in mind. Fair enough? Infant Jones Arputaraj. See, Shashi Tharoor is not going to see your. So I'm just going to take a minute here. Can we use tricky words such as supercalifragilistic, whatever? You can, unless if you are sure that Shashi Tharoor is going to correct your paper. For the last time I checked, Shashi Tharoor is not a Symbiosis guy, and he is not going to correct your paper. Please don't write all these silly words. That's all I can say. Can they give us politically controversial? Yes, they can. Therefore, be neutral for 80% of the case and take the decision at the last 20%. Anyway, let me continue, guys. I think I'm doing the same thing. I'm 30 minutes are over and I'm still at the same WAT as such. Okay? Once you have understood the structure, how do you develop, etc.? I'll give you an example. For example, there is a simple sentence like this. Can you do it or not? I'm not saying, can you do this? Let's look at this very, very quickly. Demonetization was a good move, but implementation was not. Let's say this is a sentence. This can be written as, while demonetization was a good move, its implementation has left lots to be desired. Same topic, same amount. You can write it in a better manner. Or you can write even better manner. While demonetization was a solid decision, its implementation was weak. That's another way of looking at it. Or, although demonetization was a great initiative, its poor implementation negated almost all the positive things demonetization aimed to achieve. See, look at this. The way you write it, you can make it very, demonetization was a good move, but implementation was not. A very neutral kind of a statement. While demonetization was a good move, its implementation has lot to be left to be desired. Another way of looking at it. While demonetization was a solid decision, its implementation was weak. Not very great. Although demonetization was a great initiative, its poor implementation negated all the important positive things demonetization aimed to achieve. This is another way. Or despite the fact that demonetization was a sensible decision to address a major problem facing the country, the way the demonetization was implemented negated almost all the good things the move had to offer. I'm just giving you 5-6 examples here. You can see this back or see these sentences once again. The idea is the same problem. The same idea can be expanded depending on how much more information you have or you don't have. If you don't have enough information, you can see, please understand, I already told you the reason why marks are given to you in a WAT is not only because of the knowledge that you have, but also the way you write the essay, the structure you write the essay, the vocabulary you use, and more importantly, the grammar also. Everything put together. So you can put it like this. Very good. Sanjana Mehta, you can get in touch with Sanjana Mehta, Medha Gandham, and everybody. You can get in touch with your respective centers at your places. And if you're online, you can get in touch with our faculty members online and on your WhatsApp groups, on your Telegram groups, beg your pardon, you will get help from them. So a great sentence is an outcome of your intention to reason with your opponents. That's the kind of a statement I want to make. So you have only 21 minutes. Can you write that? The way the sentences can come in is only with a lot of practice, etc. Now, for example, one more idea. Prompt. Let's say this is one thing you can write down. Dhoni's retirement caught us off guard. So take some such a sentence like this and look at what can you write best about this kind of sentence. How well can you write the same sentence? It could be something like Mahendra Singh Dhoni caught an entire nation off guard when he announced his test retirement in the middle of a test series against Australia last month. This was given by IDTV. Good or bad, I don't care. But the idea here I'm telling you is that there is a topic, a simple prompt can also be made into a longer sentences. Like for example, if there's almost like 13 words, 5 such sentences, 13 word sentences will give you a 65 word paragraph. That's pretty good enough as long as all the key points are taken care of. Similarly, relevance of MBA, world has moved on, most B schools haven't. Maybe write your best sentence, etc. kind of things. So I'm not going to delve deeper into how to write an essay, etc. But if you are writing an essay and showing it to your faculty member, especially a faculty member who is there in your center, or a director or a center manager, they can help you to evaluate this essay, look at the structure of the essay, look at how many mistakes are there or the thinking mistakes are there, help you to tell you how to think more so that you can write better essays. There is only one way to write better essays, guys, and that is by writing every day. As simple as that. Okay. Now, what kind of essays are possible? What kinds of topics are given? It could be abstract topics. It could be topical, simple topics, which are very relevant right now. I'm going to give you some examples. Please make a note of this. This will be again available to you on the screen and probably will be available to you on all your Telegram groups also. But the topics could be some things like good politics is bad economics. Think globally, act locally. Agnipath scheme, very topical, pros and cons. Look at this one on the right side. Sri Lanka's economic crisis and impact on India. Or social media impact on society. Or it could be Russia's invasion on Ukraine. Or various kinds of topics. Various types of topics. What I would like you to do is don't worry too much about it. You can do the research on these topics. Like for example, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something like 18 topics are given to you. Because there are 18 topics given to you, my friends, 18 essays if you can write, spending half an hour or 9 hours over the next 5-6 days, show it to people otherwise if you want, show it to your parents itself if required be, or your big brother, big elder sister who are probably good, or send it to the faculty members. You will get a structure. Now, for everything you write, go back and check do a little bit of research. You can be almost sure that something of this sort will come in. One of these things will be very, 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 very likely to come in your actual interview or WAT, because they're all very contemporary, very, very current topics which are put up on your screen right now. The next thing that you want to look at it is common problems faced. What are the problems? Is my knowledge enough? How do I start? Do I need a structure? What if I haven't heard the topic? What if examples don't strike? All these questions I am going to give you, which is what we discussed right now, how to ace a WAT. How to ace a WAT. I am going to give you 3 approaches for this straight away. Follow one of these approaches or all the 3 approaches to generate points. The first approach is called the keyword approach. The first approach is called the keyword approach. What do you mean by a keyword approach? Let's take one example here. One example. Good politics is bad economics. Good politics is bad economics. There are 4 words in it. So when I look at a keyword approach, what I'm looking at it, in my first paragraph, I said I am explaining the topic. So what is good politics? What is politics? Therefore, what is good politics? What is economics for a state or a country? And what is bad economics? For whom is it bad? Is it for the people of the country it is bad? For example, I give subsidies to the poor. If I give subsidies to the poor, is it bad economics or good economics? There is no correct answer for that, right? So you need to define a scope, because for the poor, it is good economics because they're getting something out of it. For the country, where if you have to give subsidies, that means I have to cut down my expenses somewhere else, expenditure somewhere else. I may not be building dams, I may not be building roads, I may not be building other things, or law and order or defense. Something or the other might be going wrong, or oil for that matter I'm not able to import because I'm giving subsidies to the poor, let's say. So is it bad economics for the country? Yes, it is bad economics for the country. But is it good for the poor? Yes, it might be good for the poor. So there's nothing like good or bad economics, good or bad politics. But politics for whom? For the party in power or the person in power, kind of things. So before you learn, before I go into anything else, my keyword approach, by looking at each of the keywords and then dissecting each of the keywords. Dissecting means going a little more into detail about, hey, what is politics, what is good politics, what is economics, what is good economics, what is bad economics, and what is the link between these two that we are talking about when it comes to, let's say, at the time of elections or the before the time of elections, etc., kind of things. You do this, your essay is done almost. That's one simple way of doing it. The other way of doing it, or another approach that can be followed, I call it the spelt approach. Always remember this word spelt. You're spelling it, spelt. So any topic is given, we look at the social angle, socio-cultural angle. I look at the political angle, I look at the economic angle, I look at the legal angle and the technological angle. So any topic can be looked at in various examples. Somebody said, boss, how do I get examples? Examples can be from socio-cultural settings, political settings, economic settings, legal settings, technological settings, mythological settings, sports settings, music settings. I mean, it could be anything. Movie settings. It could be your personal settings, but don't use normally personal settings. But by using the word spelt, socio-cultural. For example, I use this word, smoking should be banned. For example, smoking should be banned. This was my topic a little while back I given you. Now, smoking is taboo in the Sikhs, the Punjabi Sikhs we are talking about. The religion, Sikh religion, is against smoking. So smoking should be banned. You can't go to Punjab and say you should ban it, because 90% of them probably don't smoke at all. Whereas you go to Bengal, West Bengal in India, there you say smoking should be banned. People will take arms against you with their these things and kill you. I'm not saying all Bengalis smoke. No, I'm not saying the majority of them probably smoke. Again, this is my opinionatedness. But having said that, the socio-cultural angle comes into play. Similarly, let's look at drinking. You go to Bihar and say prohibition should be there, understandable. But if you go to a Muslim country, say that there should be prohibition, it's already there. Culturally, religiously, it's already there. They consider that drinking alcohol is haram. So therefore, the entire story changes. So the idea here is looking at socio-cultural, likewise political, likewise economic. I will not go into the deep of it, but it will be helpful to you. The third one is the viewpoint of the affected parties. When you smoking should be banned, let's say again take the topic like that. Who are affected? The smokers are affected. The passive smokers are affected. The children are affected. The parents are affected. Then the advertisers are affected. The smoking, tobacco farmers are affected. The government is affected, etc. There are some 20 people who are affected with the single decision. So what and whose viewpoint if you consider, and therefore write your essay accordingly. Or you can consider 3-4 people's viewpoints and then write it. Automatically, your first and second paragraph can be easily written. What I am basically coming to and saying is, by following these approaches, one of these or all of these approaches, chances are very, very high that you will never be in a position where you don't know what the content is. Second, of course, last before I kind of close this WAT thing, you need to understand, my friends, that if it is an abstract topic requires you to answer that in examples. So from first paragraph, you need to explain. The second and the third, there's no pros and cons of it. It's more explanation, more examples which we need to be given. And probably there'll be no conclusion. Somebody asked me, can it be a neutral, open-ended discussion? Yes, in an abstract topic, it can still be an open-ended discussion. Right. And last thing is, of course, how the other tips, stay updated with knowledge. If you can read the newspapers from the next 7 days, at least if you have not done till now, hopefully a lot of you have done. Make sure that these 18 topics that I've given you, please practice all the 18 topics. If you can do more, very well and good. Read whatever is happening in Ukraine, in Sri Lanka, in the presidential election. Please understand, this will be very useful for you in interview. How is a president elected in the country? What is the electoral college for the presidential election? What is the electoral college for the vice president election? By the way, vice president also is going to get elected on August 6th, I guess. And this one is on July 18th. So how is that different? There could be some information on that. Economic issues, Russia-Ukraine problem, Sri Lankan problem. What is Pakistani problem? They are saying they want 6 billion or 7 billion debt from IMF, a kind of a, not really a largesse, but kind of a loan. Why are they in such a kind of a dire straits? What is India's position in? What is our balance of payments position? Various kinds of questions that can be looked at. You don't have to really do legal topics, etc., guys. Examples from your domain or expertise that might be useful to you. You can give it. And last but not the least, you can also talk about facts and figures wherever possible. Okay, wherever possible. This is your tips to ace your WAT. The next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about personal interviews. Once again, probably will take one more longer session on personal interviews. I've already taken one, but I will take a little more in detail. But suffice it to say something very, very basic. It's called a personal interview. It's a personal interview. What does it mean? It means that the questions will be something to do with you, what you have been, what kind of person are you, what you should already know. If you have done your 11th and 12th in science, if they ask, and let's say physics and chemistry, they can ask you Boyle's law or a Charles' law. You can be asked that question. Similarly, they can ask you Newton's law. They can ask you in mathematics a Pythagoras Theorem. Or if you're a commerce student, they can ask you what are the laws of depreciation. You are a humanities student in history. Let's say you have modern history or ancient history. They can ask you those questions depending on what you have studied in your 11th and 12th also. So be careful about this. It's a personal interview. Similarly, they can ask you more about you as a person, who you are. So we'll talk about what these things are. But before I go to that, what questions are asked and commonly asked questions, let's very, very quickly look at what are they checking. What are they checking? They are checking your level of knowledge of whatever you have done till now. That is 11th and 12th class. Second, any question is given to you. For example, I talked about the presidential election. Presidential election, the electoral college is all the MPs of the Lok Sabha, of the Rajya Sabha, and all the MLAs of all the state assemblies. For every state assembly, if there are 7 assembly constituencies, each MLA will have X number of votes. If there are 7 assemblies together, which you put an MP constituency or a parliamentary constituency, together of these things will be the parliamentary MP's vote approximately. How did they arrive at these numbers? It is arrived at these numbers with respect to the population, the number of seats which are there as per respect to the population. So the electoral weightage of a Uttar Pradesh will be higher, of an MP will be higher than, let's say, a Sikkim, for example. They will look at it. Do you understand it? So conceptual understanding of how, who is the president, how is he elected, and clarity of how you can explain that is what is going to be asked. Then they will ask you, well, there is not asking you anything, but the way you communicate. For example, right now, I hope that I am kind of keeping you engaged because of my the way I'm speaking, my two hands, the way I am kind of moving them, my tone of the voice, my change in tone of the voice, my loudness of the voice, all these things matter. Communication skills is not just about speaking excellent English or speaking in verbose manner, etc. kind of things. It's also making sure that there is an impact that you are creating. That is another thing. Communication skills also implies that you listen to the question very, very carefully too. Please keep in mind. Apart from these three, see, you want to become a lawyer. Why do you want to become a lawyer? You want to become a manager. Why do you want to become a manager? So planning of a career, what is your plans of your career is also going to be very, very seriously asked. Then questions on basic personality, And very important, we'll talk about what is personality in the next paragraph, in the next slide. But reacting to a situation, there are many times then they're going to provoke you. They're going to ask you questions which are going to be very, very rude to you sometimes. How do you react? Do you react or do you respond? I think that is going to be making a huge, huge difference to you. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, commonly asked questions, one of the most obvious questions can be asked is, tell me about yourself. Now, not that everybody asks this question, but if you have to, if I were to give you a starting point of your discussion, you need to start with preparing this particular question. I'm going to talk about what you should prepare, but there are personality related questions. What are personality related questions? Like strengths and weaknesses, interests and hobbies, strengths and weaknesses. Whenever you say I have a strength or a weakness, you can't generally say this is my strength and a weakness. You need to give an example. If you're saying that something is your strength, find or always write down an example for that. Hey, this is the strength because this has happened in my life. Some example of your life. Similarly, this is a weakness of mine because I believe that because of this weakness, I have lost something out. So for every strength and weakness, write 2 points, 3 points, or 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses with examples for each. From your own life, this is. Career related questions like what do you wish to achieve in 15 years? Why do you want to go for a law? Why do you want to do a BBA? Why Symbiosis? Why Symbiosis Noida? Why Symbiosis Pune? Why Symbiosis Nagpur, Hyderabad, whatever. That can be asked. Then when you talk about tell me about yourself, that's a lot of question, a broad question. Questions can be asked also from where you are. For example, you're from Nagpur, for example. I was there very, very recently there. If you're talking about okay, somebody is asking questions. Wait, sorry. So let's come back to this. So about your city state. So tell me about yourself has a lot of information. But they can ask you, for example, you're from Nagpur, like I said, very quickly. Nagpur is the center of the country. It has a 0 mile. It is the orange city of the country. Or whatever. There are lots of things about Nagpur, good about Nagpur. Do you know everything about that? Do you know everything about your state? For example, which state in the country used to have at least 2 capitals? Which state almost had 3 capitals? By the way, it is no longer there right now. Such kind of questions if you look at it. Okay, so that kind of a questions will definitely be asked. Similarly, general awareness and basic legal knowledge, not anything deep legal knowledge, but what you already know. Not even legal knowledge really in that sense of the word, but whatever is contemporary, whatever is relevant, which is happening. For example, the hijab row is happening, or the Gyanvapi mosque issue is happening, or something else is happening. The Charles Sobraj, after 25 years, he is going to be released from prison, for example. So that is, it is a relevant thing. What is the reason for 25 years? Typically, life term is 14 years in India. What is this guy? Why is he doing? What is he doing for 25 years in a prison? These kind of questions can easily be asked also. Very importantly, much more than that. By the way, general awareness, I already told you. Sri Lankan crisis, India president and president and vice president elections, the Amarnath Yatra and how some people have died. What are the remedies for such kind of things? Climate change. The last few days it's been raining cats, dogs, elephants, and whatever not in various parts of the country. If you're from Telangana, if you're from Karnataka, if you're from Tamil Nadu, if you're from Orissa, whatever. What do we do to reduce that? Or it could be issues on the UK president, the Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak might become the Prime Minister. He is the Indian origin guy, what is he? The son-in-law of Narayana Murthy, for that matter. It could be a great different kind of a moment for that matter. So they can ask you, do you know that also? The I2U2 which is happening. I2U2, India, Israel, UAE and US. What is this I2U2 conference which is happening? Any and every one of these things which are contemporary, relevant and current are going to be asked in general awareness. And the next Pune results are out is what my friend Jigyasa Krishna has said. I hope all of you got it. If you have not got it, don't despair. There are other things that you can still do, but don't give up on that is what I would say before I can continue. The next one is academic based questions. your 11th and 12th questions, and mathematics. These are the two things which are definitely going to be asked. Okay? Excellent, Kavish. And the last, of course, but not the least, all the extracurricular activities, positions of responsibility, hobbies, interests, whatever you have, which you say are your hobbies and interests, will be asked a little more in depth. You need to know, because it's your hobby. You can't say that I don't do anything at all. It could be reading, it could be listening to music, it could be writing blogs, vlogs, traveling, whatever it might be, or it might be just even if you say that you want to see all the Korean soaps, no problems. We'll discuss about crash landing, or whatever that. I mean, I'm pretty bad at these things. Some of these things can be asked in your interview. Keep that in mind, is what I would say. My last one I'm going to talk about is, tell me about yourself. Please prepare for this particular thing on very, very specifically. The tell me about yourself, when you prepare for it, will have everything. For example, it is about you, right? You will be asked on your parents and siblings, or make 3-4 sentences on who your parents are, your siblings are, what they are doing, kind of things. Not that they will be asked, but it will be useful. Then your schooling and college 11th and 12th achievements. Then internship and work experience. Work experience, I'm using the word, any kind of a part-time work that you might have done in your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or whatever. Then any extracurricular activities and positions held. Interests and hobbies, I told you, strengths and your personality. And lastly, or rather the first one, is the antecedents of your birthplace. If there is something very specific about your place of birth, of your city of birth, or a state of birth, make sure that you put in effort to understand that and write down something about it. Now, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different points I've given you, there is no one particular structure in which you can speak. But 7 into 3 sentences you write, 21 sentences, you can speak this one for about 40 to 60 seconds. Very, very clearly. Oh, is that okay? Yes, Jigyasa, they can ask you to solve some math questions. They can ask you why Pythagoras theorem is used. In fact, in today's interview, somebody was asked that question itself. What is Pythagoras theorem? How do you apply Pythagoras theorem in physics? How do you apply Pythagoras theorem in, let's say, MBA, or whatever that may be, or law for that matter? Okay, so these are the kind of questions that they can definitely ask. I said it's be 30 minutes. It's almost close to 1 hour, guys. I hope this will give you a kind of a broad idea answers. Now for the last most important thing, that is the FAQs, or the frequently asked questions of your students. How honest should you be in answering the questions? My answer is, only 100% honesty is called honest. Anything like 70% is not called honest. So you please be 100% honest. Similarly, ethics, the last but one statement, the point that I'm looking, you have to be 100% ethics. Tomorrow you are the world. You are going to be ruling the next 40 years of the careers in this country. If you are not ethical, if you're not honest, do you think the interviewers will like it? The interviewers are professors, please mind you that. So you have to be very, very careful about it. Then there are a couple of things like the time factor. Sir, my interview is only for 7-8 minutes. Do you think I will get through? My interview is for 30 minutes, sir. Do you think I will definitely make it? Neither the first one nor the second one is there is any guarantee. 7 minutes doesn't mean you will be rejected, nor 30 minutes doesn't mean that you will be definitely selected. That reason they have a little bit of a time is based on their constraints. The first few students, typically in a batch of students, will get more time, and the last few will get very less time. You have to be patient. There could be questions which coming in saying that you have waited for 3 hours. What do you feel? Are you bored? How do you respond? What is the attitude with that which you respond is going to make a difference to you. You can say, yes, sir, I've been waiting for so long. You guys don't know how to even schedule this interview. That's not correct. That's not the way to talk about it. The way to talk about it is, sir, it's absolutely understandable. When I knew that there was an interview with my Symbiosis Law Pune and I want to get into it, I think waiting for 3 hours is not going to be too much of a point. I have been waiting for 2 years for getting into this interview room, sir. So I think it's absolutely fine with me. That kind of a very, very strong, confident answer will make a huge, huge difference. If you do not know the answer to any question, answer has to be, sorry, sir, I don't know the answer to the question. I'm so sorry. Simple. Get out of the question. Because some other questions can be asked which you can answer. But if they ask you a question which you do not know, don't keep looking at the ceiling, here, down, wherever. No, you don't. Absolutely not. reacting to various acts and comments by the interviewers. See, the interviewers do not know you before you go into the interview. If they are provoking you, don't get provoked. Be very smiling, be nice to them, be smile, talk to them nicely, give them the value. They are your teachers. They are your teachers. Look at them that you love them. When you like somebody, love somebody, you like like talking to them, right? Be that way is what I would say. And lastly, at the end of the interview, without forgetting, when you go into the interview room, first, please wish them very, very sincerely good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on the time of the day. Second, and if there is a lady in the room, first you should wish the lady and then only the other people in the room if there are others. When you're getting out of the interview, however bad the interview might have been or however brilliant the interview might have been, doesn't matter which one, you are supposed to smile nicely and tell them, thank you so much for your time, sirs and madam, or madam and sirs, and get out of that. Okay? So, no, they will be giving you a topic directly, Poonam. POSA was my mail in all mail. How to respond when you don't know the answer. Kanchan, I said, if you don't know the answer, say very quickly, sir, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. Too much hand movement, Jigyasa. When I'm saying there's too much of hand movement. I obviously don't dance there in front of them, but it's okay. Okay, all of you who have got mails, I think the results for Pune seems to be, SLS Pune seems to be out. Please go back and check it out. Poonam Kumari, for Career Launcher students, would you be taking mock interviews? If you're asking whether ARKS will take the interview, maybe not. But will Career Launcher take interviews? Yes, we will. Don't worry about that is what I would say. Crash landing on you is what I said. Absolutely, username. Sorry about that. Okay. That's lovely. I think it's been a wonderful 1 hour session. I hope if you like the session too, guys, give a thumbs up to this. Give all the comments. If you have more questions, please go ahead and ask. We'll be very, very happy to answer. I'll pick up these questions and answer them as FAQs once again in one of the next videos which comes up. But make sure that you get in touch with your center directors immediately if you have got a call from any of the institutes. Doesn't matter how good or bad the institute is. Okay. Aham is saying are in promotion. The SLS Pune mails have come into promotion or gone into spam. Please be careful, guys. Please check everywhere. Don't leave it out is what I would say. PI's Uday Suravaram is, by the way, Aham is there information whether the interview is on online or offline? Is there information given whether it is offline or online? If somebody can confirm. So POSA Vamsi, the information has not come in. The result is yet to come. Vamsi, the result is yet to come. Sandeep Dave, I can't answer this question as per the mail. So that what if the typing speed is slow? Okay. Oh, WAT is going to be online as per the mail. So Sandeep is confirming that it is going to be online as per the mail received by him from Symbiosis. If your typing speed is slow, at least try to do 200 words, if not 300 words. 200, 180 to 200 words, Sandeep Dave. As long as you make them into 3 nice paragraphs, I think you would do a fantastic job. Don't have to worry about this. So Maulika Sharma for BA LLB Pune, BBLLB SLS, I have received the mail, but could you tell me from where I can download the call letter? Maulika Sharma, if you have got the mail, that itself is a call letter in that sense of the word. You go to the admissions tab where, that is SET-test-org is there, or, there is information given to you on that SLAT exam information. You can log in and probably will find the cal letter as well as the timing of your interview also. Okay, you will get that. Yes, Kanchan, by call I mean the mail. If they ask why Simbi, how shall I answer it? Username. See, okay, this is a good question somebody's asked. Why Symbiosis? First, you go to their Symbiosis, whichever Symbiosis we are talking about. Please look at the top 5 reasons what is good about them. Don't talk about everybody else. Don't talk about any other institute. Talk only about Symbiosis and what are the 3 things or 5 things, 3 things or 5 things which you have seen in the website. And please go to websites of every institute that you are interviewing for. Make sure that you write those, you jot down the 3 points and say, sir, I have been looking at doing a BBA, I have been looking at doing an LLB. I found out there are many institutes. When I came to Symbiosis site, I found that these 3 things are very, very good about Symbiosis, and hence I am looking at Symbiosis. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. BBA results are not yet out, Samya. Sir, how is it that people like me have got shortlisted with scores like 36? Neil Castro, everybody can get shortlisted. Don't worry about the shortlists. If you have a shortlist, go ahead and try to crack it. Nagpur is also out, it says. Results for BBA, I don't think is out. CV needed for Symbiosis. CV, I guess they are going to give you a format, and that format is all that you need to follow. Don't worry about that at all. So, Anvi, if you don't have extracurriculars, you might have something to do with interests and hobbies. Please write that. I answered that username. That each individual can pick it up what they want. Dress code has to be absolutely good question, Sandeepan. Whether you are a boy or a girl, please be in business formals if you can, or for a girl, and for a boy, definitely business formals. If you don't have a suit, or if you don't have a blazer, at least make sure that you have a proper tie. A dark shirt, a light shirt, and a dark pant. They may not see the pant if it's online, of course, but at least make sure that you are in a proper attire if they ask you to suddenly stand up and showcase yourself. Similarly, for women, make sure that you are in business formals if you have. If you don't have them, at least be in very, very sober clothing in terms of a chudidar or anything of that sort. That should be more than sufficient. Username, don't. This is for username and everybody else who's listening to this. Never ever sending anything right in caps lock, because that's very rude, Mr. Username. That's a very bad thing to do. Please don't do that. Okay? Write it in line, even if you want to kind of ask 2-3 times kind of things. If I went to one interview and they asked me, do you gave CLAT, and I said yes, then they asked me, if you give an option between NLU and Symbi, which one I would choose. So here is when you are answering this question, NLU versus anything, NLU versus, sir, it is like this, sir. I would like to make sure that my choices are clear. Why I have chosen Symbiosis, I will give you my 3 reasons. Remember, I told you these 3 reasons. I will go onto my website and check it out. I will only talk about. Then they will force you to say, okay, what if you get NLU, NLSIU in Bangalore and Symbiosis? Sir, had I got NLSIU in Bangalore, I wouldn't be sitting in here, because NLSIU Bangalore started already. Obviously. Similarly, somebody might ask for BBA, what if you get an IIM Indore or IIM Rohtak and a Symbiosis? Sir, IIM Rohtak has its own. It's a 5-year integrated course, whereas I'm looking at a BBA typically. While I'm sure I will consider that, but for Symbiosis, I'm considering this because of 1 to 3 reasons. Username and anybody else, all the answers should be very, very specific to what the question is asked. You don't have to compare anybody else. You don't have to show that others are bad. You need to show that the institute that you have selected or interviewing for is the best institute. Is that clear? Ice cream is asking NMIMS main campus Mumbai or IIM Rohtak. So if you get IIM Rohtak, please take IIM Rohtak. So NLU's SLS Pune, I would say after the 7-8 Kanchan Behra will be SLS Pune. 7-8 NLUs, and then you will have the NLS. Okay. So format for CV, Tapesh Tyagi, please understand that it would have been given on the website, on your mail which has come to you, or if it has not come, check on when you log into your user ID password on the SET website or the Symbiosis website, where you would have got your admit card also, the CV format will automatically be there. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. IIM Rohtak is ranked 29, NMS at 6, etc. kind of things. I am saying for the long term ice cream, please take IIM Rohtak. As simple as that, I'm saying. That there's a very strong name for IIT. Remember one more thing, after 3 years, you can get out of it also, if you ask me. So don't worry about that. And you may want to write CAT after 3 years after BBA, but you will get a proper BBA when you get out of an IIM. Okay? Yeah, Christ is very good for law also. The WAT is online. If your Rahul Kampa is confirm it too, please make sure that you write all your WATs in right and rather than in paper and pen. See, Navi Mumbai, Bullish Bear, NMIMS is considered depending on what else you have. Christ, good or bad? Poonam Kumari, depends on what else you have. See, any question when you say, is it good or bad? You cannot take a decision based on one institute. You need to look at saying that this institute versus what other institute, and then an answer can be given to you. So is it important to fill achievements? Those are recent, or we can add ones which are old in our CV. Both can be done, Prerna, depending on how much space is available. So online, Sachit, if it is online, 18th, today we are 15th. Today you can write 2, tomorrow you can write 3, 4. Day after tomorrow you can write 3, 4. That's about at least 10 practice exercises you can write down. Okay? Do that. Dakshveer Singh, if you're going to ask ICFI Hyderabad versus SLS Pune, I will obviously take SLS Pune without any doubt about it. SLS Pune versus RMNLU Lucknow, I would say probably very, very touch and go. Depending on the fees, I will take one of them. SLS Noida and NUALS. NUALS is which one? I forgot. Yeah. Hey guys, don't worry. You get these answers. Get your final selections. Get in touch with one of our centers or to us or Amitendra sir, Pooja Kumari madam, or any one of us on this thing on individual basis. We will definitely help you there. Is that fine? CV seems to be compulsory. Please make sure that do that. Okay, NULS is Kochi, you said. See, frankly, if you look at it, SLS Hyderabad versus Kochi, it's both, but NLU is there. Therefore, I might still go to NLU. Again, I'm not going to get into details of it right away. Anvi is asking, this is an important question. So Anvi is asking, sir, I have been accepted into Army School of Law or Army Institute of Law. Should I disclose that information? Why Symbiosis? Yeah, you can disclose, sir. I have that option of Army School of Law or Army Institute of Law. However, I am very keen on getting into Symbiosis. That's why I'm in front of you. Absolutely can do that. Don't worry about ice cream. That's what I'm saying. The rankings of it are not always the correct thing. They are not sacrosanct rankings. If you get both of them, you get back to me in other ways. I will explain to you why you should choose one over the other. Is that fine? With that, guys, thank you so much. The last 1 hour, 10 minutes. I hope you have got something very, very useful for your WAT preparation as well as a PI preparation for your Symbiosis interviews. All the very best. Make sure that you make this 50% of the marks which are still available count. With that, thanks. Have a great time and a great career in front of you. Wish you all the best from all of us at Career Launcher.